Hello everyone. So recently I've been discussing my kids about some interesting topic about life. I was talking to them like life is like a game. In fact, I'll call it life game, right? And I was like going through how the life in its entirety will be like. So I was like telling them things like you are able to play at a certain age of between 1 to 7, right? For most people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the age that you are basically born, and then you can basically play until this age before you actually enter your primary school, right? So this is kind of like your cutoff date. And then you kind of have how many years to do a study where you have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, where you are doing your primary school, right? And this is where you learn your stuff. And then the next stage you have right after 12, you have 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And then that's where most of us will end our secondary school. Or in Malaysia, you end at 17, so you have a cutoff here. Yeah. And then you have your university, 18, 19, 20, 21. Probably by 22, you actually finish your U. Then thereafter you have a certain number of age where you work, correct? So let me start with this part. I was like sharing with them where this is the place where you actually play, you are learning and observing about life. So most people play here. It's just play. But there are some people who have decided for their kids, they will actually already start planning starting from this age. Meaning by age 2 or even 3, they are already planning ahead what they should do so that in the remaining part of their life, they know or they're able to achieve much greater success than their parents. So this is from age 1 to 6. From age 7 to 12, for my kids, I'll emphasize for them to build their foundations. When I'm talking about foundations, what I mean is language. It's not just about all the mathematics and science and everything, but I think this is the key, because as you know more languages, you can actually expand and widen your knowledge. So this is the place where you also do a lot of sports, right? You're actually just trying and you're semi-playing, semi-being serious, but I'll call it the foundation age. Then this is where you start to go into the more technical or the more practical part of your life. So you start to have what we call this science. Most people are required to choose whether you're a science stream or your art stream and so on. Now in this age group here, this is where you are actually starting to decide what do you want to do when you achieve your university grade. Here, you already kind of concluded what kind of job you want to do, right? So here is like your job decision. Because whatever you study over here, by the time you reach to 18, and then you're going into the university, you're basically going into the exact stream. What is the type of job you are going for? Accounts, or maybe business, or engineering, so on, right? So then most of us, we will actually go through university and end up to start work around the age of 23. and maybe you have a base pay of, for example, $2,000, right? You start with $2,000, and then you actually have to go through your life from here. So let me take another piece of paper. From 23, you actually have 28, 29, 30. You actually have about 7 years for you to achieve at the age of 30. Now, by right, this is what we call your learning years. What I mean by that, when you're learning in between 23 to 30, you are going very focused into your job. Exactly what you are going to study, it's all related to your career. Some people may pivot in the sense where whatever they studied here, they decided to change their career because they thought that it's not suitable for them, right? And then they'll jump here and there. But this is very critical in your life because this is the part where you gain experience. It's not too much a matter of money, but more of experience. And hopefully by this age here, you're able to achieve a certain amount of income. Let's say 10,000 per month. Hopefully. If you don't, that's also fine, right? Because then after 30, then you're off to the big race. From 30, and then you move to 40. 40, you move to 50. And by the time you go to 60, most of us will start to slow down. Slow down, or I would say retire. I would call it slow down, right? By the time you arrive at 60, you actually don't have energy. And when you don't have energy, that means from here onwards to the day you die, you're pretty much set. That's it. That's the end of your game of life. That's it. So the real prime years that you can make money is between 30 to 60. And you realize most people, when they arrive at 30 and then they go to 60, when they make money, they're pretty much focused and I would say stuck in that career that they choose. They can choose different careers, but most likely they are in the same spectrum. So this is the part where you make money off this part of the experience that you gain. Of course, you can gain more experience along the way, and this is the part where you make more and more money. It compounds and go faster and faster over the years. Because if you don't, by the time you reach this age, then that's pretty much it. You can't make any more money from here. And by the time you reach this age, you hope your passive cash flow, your investments is enough to sustain you. Otherwise, you can't retire, right? You basically cannot retire. So most people, what they do, if they're smart enough, they actually work it back. Whatever job that they want to do, you kind of need to know what do you want to go into, what kind of fields you want to go into, right? For example, if you're going to be a lawyer, and from 23 to 30 is where you gain your experience, and then this is where you start to make tons and tons of money, then over here you already pretty much conclude that you're going to a law school, right? The best law school will be the best, or whichever, Harvard, Oxford, whatever, right? And then before going to the law school, you actually already need to know which stream you're able to study, which one you need to go for. And then you work it backwards, which are the languages you need to go for. And then that's where you start from here. There are really some kids who are already predetermined on which career they're going at the age of 2. For the people, for example, in Hong Kong, in China, for example, they are very competitive. They already start from here. So what do you want to do when you grow up? I told my kids, whichever you want to do, you need to make your own decision, right? Make your own decision what you want to do, but you need to know earlier. So I asked them to come up with a list of the things they potentially want to do in their life. For example, maybe they want to be a lawyer, maybe they want to be a YouTuber, maybe they want to just be a programmer, maybe they want to do something else. I don't know. But I did set certain number of rules for them in order to filter what they should make sure that they pass, in order to ensure that their life, the game of life, is smooth. So I just set some basic rules, like for example, of course, you need to have a roof over your head, you need a house, right? You need to be able to buy food for yourself, you need to be able to make money from whatever you do. You are not just doing for fun, right? And so on and so forth. And after that, I set certain rules. Then you kind of strike off over the years when you go through your school life, what do you want to do, because maybe you change your interests and so on. So ultimately, in the end, you pretty much know what you should do already. So by the time you reach here, you're not lost. Most people, I think, when they reach to the age of 17, and then they are forced to decide which career they should choose. Usually this decision is made by the parents out of the interest of their heart, but then it might not be the best suitable role for the kid. They might not want it, so they might spend their years going through life, and then after that, finally by the age of 23 or even by the age of 30, they realize that, hey, no, this is not what I want. Now, the only problem about this game of life is that you only can play it once, right? It's like you are playing, for example, in Minecraft or whatever. You can't redo it again. There's no respawning. So this is really a game like a marathon. You only can do it once. Now, how do you maximize this game? Of course, there are certain cheat codes, right? There are cheat codes where, as parents, you can set cheat codes for them to, elevate them, ensure that they get the best studies, ensure that they are able to learn from your life experience, so you get to shortcut a lot of those painstaking years. You start them much earlier. You teach them the right lessons. That's what I'm doing with my kids. I'm just going through with them all the key points of life, so that they ultimately save their time. So that's one cheat code. Of course, the other cheat code is health, right? Health, staying healthy, eating healthy, exercising and so on, so that you don't end your life prematurely. You don't end your game so quickly, as long as possible, because a lot of things, once you are able to earn a certain amount of money, all you need to do is to let it compound, right? And this is a game of time. So time is for you and against you. If you're able to manage your time properly, then yeah, time will be your booster. Because for most people who take their time and drag, and only decided to start their life here, maybe they are going for drinks, partying and doing all kinds of funny stuff, and they finally got serious. Everyone will go through this phase in life. They'll finally get serious and decided, hey, I should stop wasting my life. If you're studying this at this age, whereas for others, they have already concluded that they should decide what they should do at this age. That's a 10-year gap, And this, remember, 10 years is compounding, right? It might not be much in terms of money from 16 to 26, for example. But between 30 to 40, I'm sure it's a big gap. The amount of money you can make between this age and this age and this age, while your energy is dropping, is a huge gap, right? Just now earlier I mentioned about the boost by parents. All these are cheat codes in this game. I'll call this the game of life, right? What are you going to do to your game? How can you optimize your game so that you are able to max out and do the best you can? And for example, if money is your goal, how can you make the most money out of your entire life's journey? Right? What's number 4 in terms of cheat codes? Money? Is money a cheat code? You realize money is more important than you think. What I observe about rich people is that when they are rich, they are basically living their life here, where you are carefree, you don't have to do all the household, chores, you don't have to wake up at a certain time of the day just to travel to your office and work. You are able to, be very flexible in your life. That's what kids do, right? They are very flexible and they are able to do anything they want, and they are able to be as creative as they want. This is what kids are. So if you have the power of money backing you up, you can do this. If you don't, then you're required to struggle all the way. Right? Now this is the part where you sometimes need to rely on your parents. It's not so straightforward, right? It's not so straightforward. Sometimes you don't have this luck. So one more thing is that the earlier you start in your life, where you actually decide what you want to do, the earlier you are, the more clarity you get. And with more clarity, you're able to start way ahead from others. You're able to put in much more focus into exactly what you want to do, which means you are able to really start far ahead compared to your peers in whatever field you want to do, right? Be it art, be it being an engineer or whatever. But because you start so early, you can remove distractions from everything else. And this is the part where most people here fall into this trap. Most people here will be distracted by many opportunities. Everyone will try their best to ask you to do something, to leverage your time, to leverage your skills, to leverage your energy. Because as older people, what they lack is energy and time, right? Now, if you're able to fall into a trap here in between this time and do something addictive, for example, like smoking, partying, going for drinks, whatever, and you burn this important time away, you can't get it back, because this is such an important piece of your life where you maximize your learning, and then you start to make money from here. That's the problem. Most people that aren't successful squander their life here and here. They just burn it away instead of taking adequate risk versus reward, where they actually bet on something correct. For example, like maybe going for a startup, joining some events and getting exposure. They waste their life away by going for dates, meeting people that has no value for them, smoking and so on, right? And they just waste it away. All these activities that you do, everyone wants to make money from your youth. Banks want to make sure you borrow as much money as possible from the young so that you have enough years to repay your debt, right? Insurance companies also want you to buy as much as possible early so that you get so committed and so stuck at the early age. You're basically putting your entire life savings and basically working for the insurance company. For property as well, property agents will try to convince you to buy all the properties at this age because you're young, you're able to do it, right? Better than buying it older. And then banks will love you for buying it so young. when you can commit all your money into the bank. You're basically working for the property agent, you're working for the bank, you're working for the valuer, so on and so forth. All these commitments, all they want to do is lock you in between this period. That's why most of the scams always happen in this age. And then you're stuck. Same thing for gaming companies, social media companies, Instagram. Everyone wants to lock you in here. Minecraft, all the games and all the social activities, they want to lock you in and make you commit your time here. So as parents, it's so important to make sure that the time they use or the time they spend is for the right reasons that will help them. I think we need to explain to them, as how I'm doing it. I'm explaining to my kids why you should do certain things and why you shouldn't do certain things, so that they understand, rather than just telling them off, say, hey, no, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you cannot play games, you cannot watch TV. They don't get it because it's fun, right? But you have to. It's your job as a parent to explain to them, you're doing all this so that you can prepare this game of life. I hope this video is interesting for you. Thank you for watching. See you soon.